Howdy, gang. I'm here to talk about the IK Multimedia Amplitude X pedals, the X Drive, the X Vibe, the X Delay, and the X Space. X Time, it's called the delay, and X Space is the reverb. These are amazing little devices. They're smaller than I thought they would be. They're about the size of 2 normal footprint pedals. And we are recording in mono. I will demonstrate each pedal individually. And I am employing the cab sim on the first pedal, which is the dirt distortion fuzz pedal, the X Drive, and taking that cab out in mono to the successive pedals. You will have between 4 to 6 choices. I should say 4 guitar cab sims, a bass sim, and then no sim if you wish, in each pedal. And surprisingly, with the X Drive, I've chosen different cabs based on what type of overdrive, distortion, or fuzz I am using, because it does really matter. The EQ curve changes, and they are heightened, in my opinion, by using the cab sim. They're fine on their own, but the cab sim makes them better, and the whole point of this endeavor, thanks to the lovely people at IK Multimedia who sent me these 4 beauties to test and make a video about. I am not being paid. They have not given me the pedals, which is why the screensaver tape is still on. This is my honest opinion of what's going on here, and I appreciate that they entrusted them with me. So, with that said, again, we're running in mono, using the cab sim only in the first pedal, the X Drive. Let's listen to what my signal sounds like without anything. This is direct into my DAW, into Pro Tools, nothing else. There's no direct box. There's no other cab sim, amp sim, nothing. So this is just straight in. That's it, dead clean. So I've spent several hours with all 4 of these and created some presets that I like. They're very simple to use. For instance, on the X Drive, you have A, B, and C per bank. So I have 3 presets on the first bank, and then et cetera, et cetera. I was looking for something amp-like, actually, and what I discovered after playing with it for a couple hours, that if you go to the website and check out the descriptions, each emulation in the X Drive is based on an existing pedal, not amps necessarily, but pedals, which is why the cab sim comes in handy. So you'll have everything from a tube screamer, which is the green, to Boss pedals, which are the orange and the yellow and the blue being the blues driver based on a blues breaker. We'll get to my blues breaker sound in a little bit. There's a Marshall governor. There's orange amps. There's fuzzes based on real fuzzes. So sounds is what they were going for. And it's kind of cool once you realize that. So. that's my first sound, which I've named Dirty-ish because clean. It's just got a little oomph. Pretty good little sound. And that is employing in the secondary functions. So on the pedal themselves, you can see drive, bass, mid, treble, volume, right. But if you press the parameter button, you get color, which you can, it's kind of a feel thing, but it's also sort of an EQ curve. It's the best way I could put the color. It could be bright. So this is 8.5. Let's turn it down. This is 2.5. This is 10. So it's definitely like color is an EQ. So you have EQ on board, but you also have secondary function color. You have mid, you can set the mid frequency. I've got this at 2100 hertz. You can set the mid Q, the EQ position. It's a post on most of them default, but you can make it pre. Noise gate, threshold, noise gate depth, compressor. There's a compressor built in. Cool. I've got it off on this one, but the compressor is pretty cool. You can set the compressor sensitivity per preset. Cab Sim, I'm using Cab Sim 3. This is Cab Sim 3. This is 1. Very different. 2. 4. Back to 3. So again, that changes your feel, EQ curve, range. It's pretty cool. So that's dirty-ish. Here's dirtier. And these are employing the yellow preset, the yellow algorithm, which is based on a Boss SD1. Thus yellow. Orange actually is an orange amp. It's based on the other Boss distortion. The I can't remember the name of it, but you know the orange Boss more aggressive distortion. So in keeping with, they're all based on pedals. So this is another one based on yellow, but a different cab compared to the other one. Little more low mid focus on that one, little more high mid on this one, and the other one used the Cab Sim 3. This is Cab Sim 2. This is Cab Sim 1, 4, 3, back to 2. So you can see they're very, very so let's switch from that back to dirty-ish. So that's having two sounds that are based on the same pedal, but pretty vastly different thanks to the Cab Sim, the secondary functions, and the different EQs. Pretty cool. Now dig this. This is my fuzzy sound. right? Again, that's using a cab. Let's see what cab. Oh, it's got bias, so you can bias it. It's got the mid-freak adjustment. And cab sim is 2 on that one. So, and if you want to change banks, all you have to do is press 2 switches at the same time. To go down, you press the left 2. To go up, you press the right 2. And this is my blues breaker sound in bank number 1 because we were on bank 0. Pretty damn good. Now let's check octave fuzz, UK mid. So this is one that's based on the Monarch, which typically, according to the manual, would be a more aggressive, gainier pedal, but, or at least they call it the Monarch. So this is based, this UK mid, and I call it UK mid because it's based on their UK soft preset, but I wanted a little more grit on it. It's based on the Monarch, which is the Marshall Governor. So there you go. Marshall Governor. So, and if we go up again. Now these are some that I didn't mess with. They just happen to be in the pedal. That one's called 90s Smell. This is called Broken. And this one's called Mars. It's based on the Monarch. This is Light, which is based on the Modern. Driven, also based on the Monarch. and solo. Now these, again, these all have their own cab sims. So, pretty cool. Basically, you're getting a bunch of overdrive, distortion, and fuzzes in one box, which is really handy and quite economical, pretty much. Also, I think you've probably realized by now that the fuzzes are pretty freaking amazing, and I'm a fuzz guy. I'm really, really impressed by the fuzzes. Like, there's nothing missing, especially since you can bias them and everything. Amazing, amazing. Again, the secondary functions along with the tactile EQ, pretty dynamite. All right, so we'll leave our dirty-ish sound on, and we'll head over to the X Vibe. This preset is a doubling effect, and it does that quite well. This is a tremolo. Pretty cool. This is a phaser, the Foxy phaser, the Jimmy phaser. This is called Industry. It's a slicer type effect. Now for you tweak heads like me who really get into a lot of the functions of pedals and try to use them for purposes other than they are intended, there's a lot in these boxes to do that. So I will now demonstrate. So this is a custom trem where it has a slicer effect and it's sequencing. Pretty cool. This is one called Switches that is also in the sequenced slicing realm. Kind of a broken pedal, glitchy. Pretty cool. This is called UFO. This is a step sequence. And I've tweaked all of these that I'm playing for you now. One of the best things in this X Vibe is, just like the X Drive and the rest, is the mix, the secondary function mix. So whereas when you normally play into a vibe or a chorus or a phaser, it's rare, at least in the classic sense, that they would have a mix knob. You can mix in as much clean signal as you want. Now, I think on these, just so you know, I've probably got about 75% effect and 25% clean. But if you want less effect, of course, dial in more clean. Pretty cool. And this one's a waza, sorta. And of course, you've got tap tempo, so you can tap whatever groove you want into these crazy things. And last but not least, the first two I did was a chorus. Let me turn it off again. That's just our bass X Drive sound. There's our luscious gold chorus. And what would the X Vibe be without vibe? So there you go. Pretty cool. I'm sort of partial to the doubler effect here, again, without it. It definitely makes everything wider and gives you a little shimmer on it. Without it, but we're going to turn it off for now. So the delay and the reverb, I'm not going to go super deep into them, but they're super cool. I am going to show you a few things that I really, really like about them. I should say that these four pedals can easily be a rig. You could take these four pedals with you, plug them into each other, put them into an amplifier, even using the cab sim, and you could have a pretty badass sound. You wouldn't need anything else. I mean, maybe if you have a super special favorite drive pedal, you can put that up front. If you have a looper, you could put that in here, or some other crazy, glitchy, granular device. But other than that, This is a pedal board. It's pretty amazing. I'm very impressed. But I will show you some cool things on the now. The delays are as good as any delays I've heard. Let me say that up front, which is why I'm not going to go too deep into them, because there's a million of them. There's a lot of cool things in there. Some of the choices are just insane. The reverse is great. The dual is great. The pattern is amazing, what you can do with the pattern. I'll play you some of those examples. The tape is great. The mod is great. It's a great, super solid delay pedal, and the same can be said about the reverb, which is why I'm not going to go too deep, but I will play you some of those sounds. This is a sound called Duo, which is a dual delay sound. Tails, cool. Without it, with it, not super digitally, oh, that's another thing I should say about the delays, is you can have saturation on some of the delays, but even the digital ones don't sound like fake, phony, super digitally. Like, there's some serious stuff under the hood here. I'm really impressed, particularly by these two. This is called Follow It. This, I think, is my favorite. It's another dual delay setting. So the second da-da doesn't happen until after the first. Pretty cool. That's pretty beautiful. Whoops. Oh. Okay, so this is one of the pattern delays. Amazing. Another one. Whoa. This is your tape sound. This is your space echo that I've tweaked. Warm. This is the analog algorithm. tape. Groovy. Wet Lush. So as you can see, a lot under the hood. And now I'm just going to play, so there are endless reverb potential, there is endless reverb potential in this box, in the X space. We have 2 different shimmers, a hall, chamber, room, church, plate, spring, swell, gate, early refraction, reverse, extreme, ethereal, bloom, and magnetic. And I've gone through all of them, and they're all cool. But I found 3 that I feel like I could really work with. So let's turn our old tape off, which is what I ended up with. So right now we just have the dirty-ish from my X drive. And we'll put on the hall sound that I tweaked. Nice, big, beautiful hall. Now I've also got a reverse. It's a short-ish reverse. I'm kind of using it as like a kind of a reverse slappy room sound. And it's a very fast reverse, so it happens, shoom, 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 and then it opens up and kind of blooms into a room sound. I kind of like that. But yes, you can have the My Bloody Valentine really washy, long reverse lexicon-y thing going on, or Alesis, whatever it was back then. And then, last but not least, because I want to keep this as short as possible, a preset that I call Bloomin', using the bloom setting. Kind of the crazy, metallic, bouncy, washy kind of, I really like this. Kind of an outer spacey kind of. So in summary, like I said, you can use these at a gig. These are easily bing, 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 4 pedals, gig rig. There you go, done. You can, if you put the time in, you can come up with a very If you put the time in, you can come up with very singular individual sounds, which will work terrifically in a gig, especially when you employ the cab sims, even if you're going into an amp. However, for ambient players, this is a no-brainer. This is duh, because it can get beautifully washy, gorgeous, dreamy real fast without even trying real hard. So for ambient players, for church players, it's here. Just bring these pedals. I'm really impressed. I didn't think I'd be this impressed. I thought they'd be decent. They're better than decent. They're super solid. There's an app so that you can move things around and rename them and drag and drop. That's real handy to organize things rather than always doing it on the face. And I'll also say that when I just got these 2 days ago, and I plugged them in, and there was already a firmware update waiting for me when I opened the app. So I updated the firmware for all of them, except the X Space didn't have a firmware update, which means they're paying attention and they're making them better all the time. I say check them out. I'll see you around.